Hi, my name is Jack. I'm a senior at Christian Brothers, and I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. It's nice to meet you, Mr. McEniry.
Well, nice being here.
You've accomplished a lot in your career. Can you talk through how you got to where you are now, and what were some milestones that you hit?
Well, let me review a little bit of who I am. I grew up here in Memphis, and I was a product of the parochial school system and came to CBHS as a scared guy, just like the rest of everybody does today. I graduated in 1959, and then I went to Vanderbilt University, graduated there in 1963. There I was a liberal arts graduate. Took a little of everything, and then I came back to Memphis. My father had bought a company in 1951, and I had worked there during the summers while I was in high school and while I was in college. And so I decided I was going to try it out, mainly for him, but I didn't think that I wanted to work there because it looked like hard work to me. And but anyway, as I went on, I found that the business was very interesting. It was, at that time, it was called Standard Welder Supply, and we were in the gases being oxygen, nitrogen, argon, helium, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and all related applications. A lot of them were in welding, and then we had a subsidiary company, Standard Oxygen, which was basically in the medical business. And I found that business to be pretty interesting. The applications was like a smorgasbord of wonderful things, and we had some great customers. So I became involved in it, and that was the road I took.
That's great. That's a wonderful story. Another question I have is, as a graduating senior, I want to embark on a similar journey as an entrepreneur, and then also possibly in government later on. What is important for me to know about my career, like the career landscape today?
Well, I think one of the things that I like to tell people your age, and I try to tell parents of people that your age, is that let's just sit back and try to think out some of the companies that you're familiar with today. You've probably got an Apple phone. You use FedEx. You use maybe UPS. You know about Amazon. You know about Google. When I was in school, none of those companies existed. In fact, none of those even ideas existed. So, as you prepare for college and prepare for your career, I think getting too specific too early is dangerous. In fact, getting too specific in college, I think you should take as many things as you possibly can, and maybe some of the subjects that everybody thinks are a little goofy, take them, because you just never know exactly how that's going to apply. I mean, take today, and even in your freshman year, artificial intelligence really wasn't a word that was thrown around much. But today, that's becoming very common. It's also there's a lot of practical applications. So I think what you want to do is take as many subjects as you possibly can, and build yourself as a whole person.
One question to that: how would you say you stay competitive to people who are becoming super specialized in college when you generalize like that?
The only answer, a good answer, that I think I can come out of, and I think one of the things we read about in paper today of people having student loans and they can't find the job that they are particularly took the courses in. You know, when you come out of college, there's no such thing as stamping a badge on your uniform and saying, you know, I took psychology, therefore I'm a psychologist and you should hire me and I'm going to analyze you. That just doesn't happen. Just because I majored in history doesn't mean that I'm all of a sudden a historian. Just because I excelled in science doesn't necessarily mean that I can invent every science thing. Now, there are people that are very driven, and for instance, let's say a person wants to be a doctor. He should be taking things that drive him on to there. I just met a faculty member out in the lobby who is a baseball coach, and one of the famous guys in our class was a great baseball player, and he was involved in World Series, and but where he came out, when he came out of playing baseball, where he made his real stamp on the world was in broadcasting. And basically, and I'm talking about Tim McCarver, he read everything he could get his hands on. And I'm not talking about just about sports. I'm talking about literature. And what it did is made him better on the air, because he'd have a reference to something that maybe was a little humorous, maybe it wasn't. But developing the whole person, I think, is very important.
And I like the point that you were saying about how if you are super specialized, a lot of times it can be really hard to find the job because you're not available to a large market.
Yeah. And I think a lot of our students that we're reading about in the paper today have a misconception of college, but by the same token, I think their parents did too, or they weren't given the proper, they thought once they go to college, if you graduate and you majored in X, you're going to automatically get a job, and that just isn't in the cards.
Another question I had for you that's kind of changing subjects. What does it mean to you to be inducted into the Society of Entrepreneurs?
Well, it's if you take a look at the Society of Entrepreneurs, and it is a group that have done exceedingly well here in our own town. So it's a great honor, and it's nice to be associated with those people. Whether or not I'm the greatest of all greats, I don't know. I don't say that I am, but it is a real honor.
That's great, and congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Another one that this is kind of building off a lot of different questions that I've asked. If you were to draw a roadmap for me today, going to be successful, in business, what would the layout be for me? So I guess focus more on the current day. So is there anything, maybe major differences compared to when you graduated to right now, on what it takes to be successful?
Yeah, well, we mentioned some of the companies that were weren't even around. So yeah, there are a lot of different opportunities, and I think there's better perspective. And if I go back in my history, the difference today, when we were doing things, our accounting was more in the past. I mean, we would do it, the accountants would take care of it, and then a couple weeks or months later, we'd know how we did. Today, everything is more data-driven. You can know almost immediately what the effect that you did. And so today, I think the opportunities, we knew there was no such thing as a computer. It was all ad machines, and the accounting was something that was done offline. Today, with laptops, you're on top of it as fast as you possibly can. So there's the opportunities and the information. So doing business in the latter part of my career, we had so much information. We could go back and do something about our problems, and we could do it immediately. But that's a lot different.
Well, I want to thank you for coming out today.
Well, I want to thank you for the interview, and I thank you for soon to be alumnus of CBHS, and probably a philanthropist because you'll be giving back to the school.
Yes. A lot of great advice. Thanks again.
Thank you.